Hello everyone, it's End Times Talk, and I have a very important video to share with you today. It's absolutely astounding how quickly biblical prophecy is becoming fulfilled. Joel chapter 3 is just ringing in my ears right now, and I wanted to make a short video on what's kind of happening. The defense minister of Israel has come out and said that the next war that they will fight on the Israeli front lines will be a multiple front war. So it truly means that they're going to be surrounded. I know Amir Sarfati from Behold Israel released a video last night talking about how they're being surrounded on multiple fronts. Hezbollah and Hamas and the Palestinians are being emboldened by what's going on in Israel because of the political left in Israel rising up against the Israeli government. All right. Just kind of like we had here, there's a lot of leftist liberals in Israel who are, getting out in the streets and protesting and all this stuff. But what a lot of people aren't being told is that many, many, many of these Israeli protesters are actually Palestinians waving Israeli flags. I truly believe that Israel is in a dire situation right now, and I believe that it's coming very fast. And I want to make a video to help warn people of what's to come. Now, I'm going to read to you out of the book of Joel here, chapter 3. I'm going to read it all to you. It's a little lengthy, but please pay attention. You will be edified by this. For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, because they're kind of being held captive by all of this violence that's around them. They're being held captive by them being surrounded. That's kind of what's happening. I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat. And I will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. And they did, the Gaza Strip and the West Bank and all that stuff. They divided the land of Israel, and America had a hand in that. And they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for a harlot, and sold a girl for wine, that they might drink. Yea, and what have you to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coasts of Palestine? That's literally speaking of Lebanon and the Palestine, the West Bank and the Gaza Strip. I mean, that's literally, these are the people that are surrounding Israel and Syria from the north. Iran is using Syria as kind of a forwarding base to come at Israel. All right, but it's literally right there in chapter 3, verse 4. Yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coasts of Palestine? Will ye render me a recompense? And if ye recompense me, swiftly and speedily will I return your recompense upon your own head. Ooh boy, that don't sound too good for the opposing party. Because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things. This is speaking of, I believe, the temple artifacts that are made of gold and silver that were taken by the 10th Roman Legion when Israel was and Jerusalem was ransacked by Rome. All right, after Jesus was crucified, and it says that they literally took into their temples his goodly and pleasant things. All right, the children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians, that ye might remove them far from their border. And that literally is what's been happening. The Palestinians and everybody that surrounded Israel before literally sold off men, women, and children, all right, to different countries as slaves, all right, after Israel was kind of falling apart after the crucifixion of Jesus. I mean, it literally says it right here. And behold, I will raise them out of the place whither ye have sold them, and I will return your recompense upon your own head. And in 1948, Israel became a nation again. Right there. And I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hands of the children of Judah. And that's what they've done. I mean, look at what's happening with Ben Gavir.
You know, and I think that scripture right there pertains to the Palestinian settlements as well that are all over Israel, that the Jews are kicking them out. You know, God has literally sold your sons and your daughters, that from the days that you were selling Jews as slaves, that he'll cause your sons and your daughters that are grown up to be sold into the hands and to be given over into the hands of the Israelis. And the Israelis are just kicking people out right and left because there's so much violence in Israel. There's so much bloodshed happening that Israel has to protect her own now. And they have to take Israel back from this occupation, this Palestinian occupation that has been on their land for so long.
And, you know, the Jews are outright sick of Palestine right now. They're outright sick of Jewish blood being shed in Israeli land. I mean, it would be one thing if Israel's going on someone else's turf and losing their life because, you know, they're doing a military something or other in another area. But literally, they're just being hammered constantly by rockets and by terrorists that are slaying and killing citizens, Israeli citizens, within Israel. All right, this is exactly what this is saying here, where it says, "And I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hands of the children of Judah, and they shall sell them to the Sabaeans, to a people far off. For the Lord hath spoken it. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles: prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourselves and come all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come get you down, for the press is full, the fats overflow, for the wickedness is great." You know, the wickedness of the winepress of the wrath of God is showing his wrath against these nations that are coming against Israel, the Palestinians and the Lebanese, you know, where they have Hamas and Hezbollah. All right, and these other terrorist organizations that are coming against the Jewish people. It says right here, multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision. That is literally telling you that when these things are kind of all happening, that the day of the Lord is near. All right, it's literally telling us the great tribulation is near. And that means that the pre-tribulation rapture is even closer, people. These are signs of the end times, major, major prophetic signs being fulfilled right now. All right, and it says right here, the sun and the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. We're almost done here. The Lord also shall roar out of Zion and utter his voice from Jerusalem, and the heavens and the earth shall shake. But the Lord will be the hope of his people and the strength of the children of Israel. So shall ye know that I am the Lord your God, dwelling in Zion, my holy mountain. Then shall Jerusalem be holy, and there shall no stranger pass through her any more. That's when they're going to say enough is enough after this war. After this war, they're going to say, nope, no more Palestinians and all that stuff coming into Israel anymore. None of this stuff. We've had enough. And it's basically already starting to happen. They're taking the Palestinian settlements and kicking them out. They're like, you guys got plenty of land in all these other Arabic countries where you guys are from. You guys have family from all over the place. Go live with them. Quit being here and quit pestering Israelis and killing and slaughtering Jewish men, women, and children, citizens even, that aren't even in conflict with you. You know what I'm saying? It's ridiculous how they treat these people, how the Palestinians treat Jews. All right, but yet the world cries out that the Palestinians are the ones to blame. I'll show you some videos. I'll prove to you otherwise.
We felt very, very afraid I felt really, really endangered. I did not know if I would go out there alive, because they had so much hate against us. I was a few times in Judea and Samaria, to Ramallah, to Hebron, also with rented cars, and I never had any issue there. So I did not expect this to happen, that we were literally attacked by a mob of young, angry people from the streets, suddenly came out of the taxis and kind of surrounded us. And we tried to explain them in English that we are tourists, that we are from Germany, we are both not Jewish, so we are not a target for them. But they didn't understand, they didn't even listen really to us. They just screamed at us, and they started first to bump with their fists against our car, and then they took some traffic signs and rocks that they were throwing against us. After a while I saw another car with an Israeli license plate who gave me a sign to follow him. So I followed him, and he actually led us away through smaller roads outside of the main road to the border of the city of Nablus. It definitely changed my mind about the Palestinians, because so far I had much better experience with them, and it just showed me that kind of out of nothing they can attack you, and they were so much triggered by this really, really small Israeli flag on the car that they decided to attack us. And I don't know if they wanted to kill us, but we definitely had this impression.
حلو نزل الحلو نزل الحلو خليك استنوا روح علي طعمي روح امشي طعمي اللي هناك يلا يا شباب امسك مفترق فجر صلاح عز تخلوش ولا واحد في الشارع الا تحلوه وقفوا السيارات كلها وحلوها يلا وعدناكم والحلو بده ينزل يلا يا فجر اقف اتحلى اقف حليه عز خليش ولا واحد في الشارع الا تحليه.
Yeah, but why give out sweets?
We are very happy in our resistance.
Even when it's a civilian, like somebody in
There
Tel
is
Aviv?
no civilian in
No, someone in Tel Aviv.
No. Tel Aviv is one of our occupied cities.
Oh, so they're not civilians.
There is no.
So a person in a restaurant, not a civilian.
There is no nothing called Israel for us, for the people. Okay, all the history of Palestine is our home. So we consider all of Israeli are armies. Yeah.
Even if they never served in the army, and they believe in peace with Palestinians.
There is no peace with the Israeli people.
And it says right here, and it shall come to pass in that day that the mountains shall drop down new wine, and the hills shall flow with milk, and all the rivers of Judah shall flow with waters, and a fountain shall come forth of the house out of the house of the Lord, and shall water the valley of Shattaim. Egypt shall be a desolation, and Edom shall be a desolate wilderness, for the violence against the children of Judah Egypt shall be a desolation, and Edom shall be a desolate wilderness for the violence against the children of Judah, because they have shed innocent blood in their land. Now right there, that's talking about the Persians, that's talking about Iran. Edom is Iran. Right there, Edom is going to be a desolation. It says, Edom shall be a desolate wilderness, people. Think about that. Israel's had enough. Israel's about to do what she has to do to protect herself. It's coming, people. Right here in Joel chapter 3. This is exactly unfolding right now.
Iran is about to build its very first nuclear weapon. Escalating tensions between Israel and Iran and the potential for military conflict between the two countries are escalating. One major issue is the possibility of Iran developing a nuclear weapon. This nuclear weapon is a major threat, which Israel and many Western nations view as significant to global security, and could be within 12 days of enriching enough uranium for a nuclear weapon. In response, Israel is preparing for military intervention to prevent this development. However, the potential consequences of war are also significant, with the deployment of the immensely powerful weapons that could unleash global blowback. Messaging from both sides has grown increasingly bellicose as Iran continues to enrich uranium and Israel signals as increasingly willingness to strike Iranian nuclear facilities. For historical context, Israel was founded in the wake of the Holocaust, and it views Iran as the newest threat to its existence. Israel's prime minister has warned of a nuclear Iran, saying that if the United States does not establish a credible military threat immediately, either Israel will attack or Iran will have a nuclear weapon.
And I think there's a common consensus that this regime must not acquire nuclear weapons.
Now, many articles note that the Prime Minister's warnings are a tactical bluster. Others see this as an increased appetite for risk in the recent months. Just recently, in the last few months, President Biden did approach Iran with diplomatic measures.
Every nation to recommit to strengthening a nuclear non-proliferation regime through diplomacy.
After the Trump administration pulled us out of the treaty back in its presidency, which was created to suppress the development of Iran's nuclear facilities. Due to recent protests, Iran has completely backed out of any diplomatic measures and has decided to ally with Russia and kill tons of their own protesters. Israel has now reportedly held a series of secret high-level meetings aimed at upping preparations for a possible confrontation with Iran, just recently launching a drone attack on a military depot in Iran, which coincidentally just took place after the CIA director William J. Burns took a trip to Jerusalem. Now, while the likelihood of a war between Israel and Iran is uncertain, the current situation is highly volatile. However, this is just one more conflict to add to a potential World War III.
But Judah shall dwell forever in Jerusalem from generation to generation, for I will cleanse their blood that I have not cleansed, for the Lord dwelleth in Zion. That's an amazing chapter, people, because it is literally unfolding right before our eyes. Check out what the defense minister of Israel has to say.
The Yom Kippur War in 1973 was the last time Israel had to fight a war on more than one front. In the half a century gone by, all its wars and military operations involved one front. But that relatively comfortable reality may be changing.
The privilege that the state of Israel had of saying that we will only fight a limited war in Gaza or in parts of the West Bank is ending.
The Minister of Defense, well aware of what is happening around Israel's borders, thinks the next time will involve various arenas, all guided by the same head.
We have fightings in Syria, infiltrations from Lebanon with potential for escalation, everything happening in the West Bank and the reality in Gaza. Even if the arenas do not seem connected, we are fighting against one hand sitting in Iran, sending different arms trying to harm us.
The idea itself is not new. This was the main goal of Qasem Soleimani, the former head of the Quds Force, in charge of foreign operations of the Iranian Revolutionary Guards. Soleimani was killed in an American strike 3 years ago, but his plan did not die with him.
There will be a decisive response wherever the resistance is at any spot in the world. We will avenge the blood of our leaders and carry on with their resistance.
So far, it did not materialize, and Israel could focus each time on one front. But the man heading the Israeli security establishment believes Israel should again be ready for a multi-front war. His words echoed by Member of Parliament Gadi Eisenkot, a former chief of staff, who said this week Israel is facing its worst security situation for the past 50 years. The reality on the borders is clearly changing.
Isn't that amazing, people? Joel chapter 3 is literally unfolding before our eyes, and we've talked about this subject before on this channel, but I feel that it needs to be revisited. All right, because people need to understand how close we truly are to this happening. There's so many violent attacks that happen from Palestinians to Jews. All right, and it's just outright insane how violent they are towards Jews. They don't care if it's men, women, or children. Even these children that this Palestinian terrorist had attacked and killed, all right, they were celebrating it in Palestine. Check these videos out.
Recently, I dared call Palestinian terrorists brainwashed murderers who are programmed to seek Jewish blood since age 0. Apparently, it bothered some anti-Israeli organizations, which is all the more reason to bother them even more. So let's look at some examples, shall we? We'll start with a Palestinian kindergarten. where you would expect to find nothing but pure innocence, right? But look at these children. They are glorifying murder and death. A little kid lying on the ground, playing a dead terrorist. His friends are kissing his face and escorting him to the grave. Which parent or teacher in their right mind would encourage kids to act out their own suicidal death and film it and then post it? It's a sick cult of death built on two inseparable ingredients: murder and suicide, dying while killing others. It's nauseating, and it gets even worse. This is an image from a Palestinian schoolbook teaching reading comprehension to fifth graders. Who is this powerful woman, you wonder? Surely a heroic role model if her story is told in an educational book, right? Well, meet Dalal al-Mughrabi, a murderer responsible for the horrific massacre of 37 Jews, among them 12 children, in the deadliest terror attack in Israel's history. That's the Palestinian ideal of feminism. Not a lawyer, not a doctor, not a businesswoman, a mass murderer. But they do study math and science, and in a rather creative way. Instead of counting oranges or apricots to teach basic addition, fourth graders are asked to calculate the total number of murderous suicidal terrorists who died in the two Palestinian intifadas against Israel. And you never guess how Newton's laws of physics are explained to seventh graders. Here, they are asked to determine the forces influencing a rock after it's released from a slingshot. And when such a rock hits the head of its Jewish target, I assure you, it's way more dangerous than a falling apple. And it's not like they don't know how to be a good parent. Take this dialogue, for example, posted on the official Facebook page of Fatah, the Palestinian party which holds sway in Judea and Samaria. Listen to the woman playing the boy's mother.
يما يا أمير وين رايح؟ سلمي على أبوي. قل له دايما أمير زي أمير. خوفتني يما وين هالمشوار؟ الكاس. بعيد يما يا أمير. دايما والله جبل. انت روحي روحي.
Isn't she so caring, so maternal, so worried about her little boy and where he's going? But there's a plot twist.
هذه يما روحي في الكاس. أي الكاس. أستاذ متجنة. أي الكاس حرام. أي الكاس حرام.
Now look at this boy's face. Take a really good look at it. Tell me it's not psychotic to share it and expect other children to imitate him. Tell me it's not child abuse. This little girl, from another video shared by Fatah, summarizes it best.
يا بني لم نخلق للسعادة فأنت في نظري مشروع للشهادة وسلاحنا إسلامنا وذخيرتنا أبناؤنا.
You see, it's simply the truth. Palestinian terrorists are brainwashed murderers who are programmed to seek Jewish blood since age 0.
Isn't that crazy, people? I mean, they're actually celebrating the death of Jews. You don't see Jews celebrating the death of Palestinians. The Jews just want peace. They just want a homeland. They have a piece of land that is smaller than half the state of California, people. Think about that for a second. Out of all these Muslim nations that surround Israel, they have literally just a portion of half the land of California. And in all these Muslim Arabs could literally go and live in all these vast areas, you know, within Iran and Egypt and Turkey and all these different places. But they choose to keep pressing in on Israel because what it's about is the Palestinians hate the Jews and they don't want them to exist. Iran has come out and even said with their own mouth that Iran wants to wipe Israel off the map and wants to push them into the sea. All right, and so Israel has to do what she has to do to protect herself from the Iranian threat, and Iran keeps sending over all these weapons to these airstrips that are in Syria. All right. And I mean, like, Amir Sarfati was saying that they're literally like arming themselves to the teeth right now. And that's what's happening, folks. These nations that I believe are surrounding Israel in Joel chapter 3 are literally arming themselves to the teeth, and they're getting ready to make war with Israel. But I'm telling you, God is going to come screaming out of Israel with a loud shout and with a loud voice, and he is going to take back Israel from these people. I don't believe this has anything to do with Ezekiel 8 and 38 and 39 yet. I believe Ezekiel 38 and 39, the war of Gog and Magog, is a latter war that is possibly in the tribulation. I believe this is the beginning of World War III. Joel chapter 3 is the beginning of World War III, and when this starts with Israel, you're going to see everything else kick into action. All right, we know that we're already seeing some things with the Ukraine and Russia, but I'm going to tell you right now, my friends, my brothers, my sisters in Christ, we haven't seen nothing yet. We haven't seen nothing yet. This is about to get hairy, folks. I truly believe it. I feel it in my spirit. I feel the Holy Ghost all over me. My whole body's tingling right now. It's not even a joke. It's not even a joke, people. I believe Joel chapter 3 is exactly what World War III is and how it's going to start. And I want to show you this letter right now. This letter right here. All right. I don't know if you'll be able to pause it and read it. All right. I don't know if you'll be able to pause it and read it, but I'll post it in my comment section again, or in my community post section again, so that way you guys can check it out and see it. But it's actually a letter from Albert Pike to Giuseppe Mazzini, who was the head of the Illuminati back in 1871, and Albert Pike and him exchanged some letters. And they wrote out back in 1871 the 3 world wars. And you can read this for yourself. I'm not going to get into it, but the First World War happened exactly as they wrote it out. The Second World War happened exactly as they wrote it out. Now listen to this. We're going to connect some dots here, people. All right. The Third World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences caused by the agents of the Illuminati between the political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world. The war must be conducted in such a way that Islam, the Muslim Arabic world, and political Zionism, the state of Israel, mutually destroy each other. God's not going to let that happen, but this is what the Satanists are planning. Now listen. Meanwhile, the other nations, once more divided on this issue, so all of the world is going to be divided on the issue between Israel and the Muslims, the Muslim Arabic world, going at it head to head. All right. Some are going to join the side of Israel. And you know where I stand right here. This is where I stand. I stand with Israel. I'll stand with Israel until the very, very end. I'm not kidding around, because God said himself in Genesis, he said, those that bless Israel shall be blessed, and those that curse Israel shall be cursed. So you best watch what you say about the land of Israel, about God's chosen people. All right. And it says in the Bible that we're grafted into the Jewish vine when we believe in Jesus Christ. So you best know that. All right. But I'll tell you right now, there's going to be a division between people who support Israel and people who are going to support these Muslim Arabs that are coming at Israel right now, that are arming themselves to the teeth, that are surrounding Israel right now, all right? And it says that once more, divided on this issue, these people will be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economical exhaustion. It says, we shall unleash the nihilists and the atheists, and we shall provoke a formidable social cataclysm which in all its horror will show clearly to the nations the effects of absolute atheism, the origins of savagery, and of the most bloody turmoil. Then everywhere the citizens obliged to defend themselves against the world minority of revolutionaries will exterminate those destroyers of civilization, and the multitude, remember these are Satanists that are writing this now, the multitude, disillusioned with Christianity, whose deistic spirits will from that moment be without compass or direction, anxious for an ideal, but without knowing where to render its adoration, will receive the true light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer, brought finally out into the public view, just like they're doing with all like the Harry Potter movies and all this witchcraft and Satanism that's pouring into the mainstream media. All this stuff, we're being conditioned to be ready for Luciferianism to come out in the open. That's what's about to happen too. This manifestation will result from the general reactionary movement, which will follow the destruction of Christianity and atheism, both conquered and exterminated at the same time. Now, it says right here, all right, then everywhere it talks about them provoking a social cataclysm. All right, and I do believe it's talking about here that they're going to unleash nihilists and atheists, a world minority of revolutionaries out to commit atrocities within the different power structures of the different countries all over the world. All right, and we're seeing the beginnings of that, like down in Georgia, where Antifa is rising up, pushing police back off their own property, throwing firebombs at them, fireworks at them, starting things on fire. You know, that is communism. All right. This is the world minority of revolutionaries. They're not a majority, all right, but they want the majority to rise up against the minority and to exterminate those destroyers of civilization. It says it right here. Then everywhere the citizens obliged to defend themselves against the world minority of revolutionaries will exterminate those destroyers of civilization. That's what they want, because all these people are godless, God haters. All right, all these people that dress in black with their little black masks on and their little black helmets, you know, they got to wear their little helmet because their brain's so fragile. All right, these people are God haters. You should have heard the junk that they come out and said against our holy God when they were out rioting in the streets during that George Floyd stuff. All right, when they were out there, it wasn't even about George Floyd to them. They were out there screaming and chanting and saying obscene things about God and talking about how much they hated God and how much they hate Christians. Well, you want to know it? At this channel, at End Times Talk, we love Jesus Christ and we love God's people and we love God. We love the Israelites and we will stand with them up until the bitter end. It ain't even a joke here. All right, but I'm telling you, people, it states it all right here, and it's talking about them bringing the Muslim Arabic world. All right, the Illuminati is going to bring the Muslim Arabic world against the political Zionists. And so you have this extreme right cabinet that has come into power there in Israel more than it's ever been. All right, but they're also using that to bring division between the left and the right within Israel because they want civil war in Israel. Israel has never been weaker, and Amir Sarfati of Behold Israel even was talking about that. He says America has never been weaker, folks. And so the Muslim Arabs see this, and they're taking opportunity to attack Israel on all fronts. And Amir Sarfati even said, he said they're literally arming themselves to the teeth right now, surrounding Israel on all fronts. All right, you should probably go watch his most recent video that he made. I think it was probably like 15 hours ago or 16 hours ago, something like that. But you should check that video out. There's a lot going on right now. But I want to show you how this was planned out in 1871. All right, and there is something I want to talk about just real quick, because there's going to be people that try to discredit this letter and say that it doesn't exist. But it does exist. All right, there in the paragraph where it's talking about the Second World War, it does bring up the term Nazism. All right, and I want to make sure people understand that the ideologies of Nazism started all the way back to 1841 and in 1856. All right, and I mean, you can read it for yourself right here. You can pause it and read it if you want to read how Nazism started before 1871, but it did. Nazism started before 1871. All right, this letter is factual. Look at the way it's unfolding out before our eyes right now. I mean, they're literally starting to provoke a social cataclysm, which in all its horror, explosions, chemicals, all this stuff being released into our water, into our food supply, into our air supply. I mean, all these little revolutionaries running around trying to commit atrocities, attacking the police and all this stuff, promoting that stuff. It's going to get really bad when George Soros starts paying them again. They ain't even getting paid right now, and they're doing this stuff. They were getting paid back during the riots after the pandemic of 19 pandemic. All right, what I'm trying to say is they're not even getting paid right now, and they're doing this stuff. Wait until they start getting paid by these rich elitist Illuminati billionaires and start getting a fat paycheck for going out and burning stuff down. All right, we're going to have a real problem on our hands, and people are going to have to stand up and defend their own corner of the infrastructure of this nation. All right. And it even says it right here. It even says it right here. And they want to throw the Christians off balance because they want them to go out and do things that God is not telling them to do. We have to protect our families. We have to protect our women. We have to protect our children. And I will be darned if I'm going to stand by and let someone hurt my family in any way, shape, or form. Physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, any of it. All right, I will stand up for my family. And I hope every single man that is out there right now that is a family man that loves his family will stand up for his family, that will even give his life to protect his family and the safety of his family. All right, because that's important right now. Things are getting hairy. And yes, things are going to start in Israel. Joel chapter 3 talks about it. All right, this document right here, it talks about it. But you want to know what, people? All right, it's going to spread. This thing's going to spread. It's World War III. It talks about all the other nations constrained to fight to the point of complete moral, physical, and economical exhaustion. And that right there, that's also something I want to say is they talk about that moral, the morals there, and that's how they're going to get the Christians. The Christians have a standard. They have morals. They don't want to hurt other people, but they want to defend their own family safety. All right, and so after you defend your own family safety and you've had to do what you've had to do, there's a change that happens in a man. All right, I know a few veterans, and I have family that are veterans, and it changes a man after you do what you have to do to keep people safe. All right, and so that's where I think that they're going to spin Christianity on its compass and try to bring in this Luciferianism. Oh, you did the right thing, blah 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 blah, and start scratching itching ears. All right, and so we have to be careful of that as Christians, that we find our peace from the Lord, that we find our joy from the Lord, that we find our protection from the Lord, because we do not want to play into the hand of any of these Satanists, all right, that are doing this stuff. And there's even some Illuminati cards that deal with this situation. I want you to check these out. All right, this is the World War III card, and it's a nuclear explosion. In the center of the explosion, right up here, you'll see the triangle with the all-seeing eye in it. All right, showing that the Illuminati has their hand in it and that nuclear bombs will be used in World War III. This card is talking about that, all right? And we talked about the world minority of revolutionaries that's destroying civilization out of this letter from Albert Pike to Giuseppe Mazzini. All right, here's the Society for Creative Anarchism, and this is Antifa. This is the Antifa card from back in the day before supposedly Antifa even existed, even though Antifa goes back to World War II, and most people don't know that. Most people don't know Antifa goes all the way back to World War II in Nazi Germany. It's coming. This war is unfolding before our eyes, and overnight things are going to change. That's why I'm trying to warn people. I'm trying to say get ready now, because they're trying to keep us distracted with the banking situation, like money matters. Like, yeah, I get it. You know, people got to live, but you want to know what? Money is not our God. Jesus Christ is our God. All right. And that's the thing people need to understand is they need to quit worrying about the finances and start worrying about what's coming upon the earth. All right. Joel chapter 3 is coming upon the earth. And when that starts, it's going to spread, and it's going to spread like wildfire. And I really hope people are prepared to deal with it. You know, the situation at hand is very dire. It's not even a joke, people. It's very dire. And so I want people to be ready, to be prepared, to be focused on Jesus, to have their lives right with Jesus. All right. And I'm going to tell people right now, this just goes to show that the pre-tribulation rapture is even closer than all of this stuff. I truly believe that God is going to take his people out of here. All right. And so we have to be ready for that. We have to have a repentant heart. We need to be crucifying our flesh, which means denying your flesh of the pleasures of the earth that it wants, the sins, all right, and to be walking our cross and bearing it daily. So have an outward expression of who you are as a Christian. Stop hiding in the closet, people. And I feel like this is for someone out there right now. This is for someone out there right now. There's people out there right now who are scared to let people know that they're Christians, who are scared to let people know that they love Jesus with all their heart. And I'm telling you, you got to say it before man. It says in the Bible, those who deny me before man, I will deny before my Father in heaven. We got to have an outward expression of the Christianity that we believe in, the Jesus that we believe in. Have it being expressed outwards. All right, bear up your cross and walk it daily. I mean, show it with honor and dignity, because I'm telling you, there's no greater place to be than that in the arms of Jesus. I'm telling you, folks. All right. Don't be ashamed of the gospel. I am not ashamed of the gospel. Say it. I am not ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ. All right. God has got a plan for each and every one of you through the situation that's unfolding all around us. And he's going to use each and every one of you to be a soul winner. God is preparing you for that. You are part of a last days remnant that is going to be used. And I want you to know that God is literally going to take you and he's going to use you and he's going to use your own ministry in your life to multiply his numbers. God be praised. God be praised. I'm telling you, folks, it's an amazing thing to serve the Almighty God, the true living God. All right. And it's amazing to have the blood of Jesus Christ cover you and atone for your sins. I'm telling you, folks, it's an amazing thing. If you don't know Jesus and you're watching this video and you want to know Jesus, all right, all you got to do is confess with your mouth and believe with your heart. Confess with your mouth Jesus Christ and believe in your heart that he died for your sins and that he rose again and that he's coming again for his people. All right, that he was God in human flesh. Believe that in your heart and confess it with your mouth. And it says you're saved. All right. It says then if you want to go get baptized, you can. I suggest going and getting baptized, but I don't believe it's a salvation issue. I just believe Jesus said go get baptized, and it's okay to go get baptized. So I want to, and then also if you find like a church that you like, get involved with the church. You know what I mean? It's okay to go to church. It's okay to not forsake the gathering of believers. It's okay to have church right here on this channel. You know what I mean? It's okay to have church with your family at home and listen to some sermons or something on TV or on the radio or read a book or read the Bible. You know what I mean? That's church too. It says when there are more than two gathered in his name, there he is in the midst. So when there's at least 2 or 3 of you, Jesus is in the midst of you. All right, when you're gathered in his name. So I just want to encourage people to stick close to Jesus Christ in these last days because the times truly are getting dark. May God bless you and may God keep you. And don't forget to go out and change the world in which you live.